Well, hello there. Starting my Walking Buddy show number 2, and I want to start out by saying rabbits, rabbits. Why am I saying rabbits, rabbits? Because it is the first of the month, and several years ago, my favorite writer, Lawrence Block, I started following him online, and I noticed that every month, first of the month, he would do a posting that said rabbits, rabbits. And apparently it's an old English tradition that if you say it on the first of the month, it'll bring you good luck. Now, for me, I've been doing it the first of the month every month this year, 2014, and it has been a really great year so far. Not a perfect year, but whoever has a perfect year, right? But it's been a pretty damn good year. I've started a wonderful relationship with Lisa, and I'm coming along really well with my writing. My first book will be out in June, and hey, what's it gonna hurt to say rabbits, rabbits, right? Anyway, I want to thank everyone who tuned in for the first episode of Walking Buddy. Had a lot of nice comments about that, a lot of views, so I thank everyone who's taken the time to watch it. So this is number 2. And I am trying a different angle with the camera here because the last time, pretty much, the camera was shooting up my nose most of the time, or was focused on my beard. I saw a couple other walking shows. Lisa decided to do a walking show, which is awesome. Go to LM Stull here on YouTube. You can check out her show. And also, Andy Wood just started a really good show, and they do it more from this angle. So I'm not going to talk about camera angles the whole video. What I want to talk about, though, is a few different things. First of all, I'll tell you what I'm doing with these things. Decided I'm going to keep them probably around 15-20 minutes each. And I'm going to be walking decided I'll do a video and walk a mile every time. And I'll stop at a mile. So, that's roughly 20 minutes. I'm a happy, friendly guy. I try to say hi to people as I walk by. Let me tell you about this place, okay? It's Del Castle Recreational Park. It's considered Wilmington, Delaware. It's actually on the outskirts of Wilmington. Definitely my favorite place to walk. You got tennis courts here. They got baseball fields. People play soccer, all kinds of stuff, basketball here. It's a nice, beautiful park to walk in. I haven't been coming here as much as I'd like to, but that's changing now that I'm getting back into the walking. 4 or 5 years ago when I was super into walking, I was here almost every day. But getting back to these walks here, I'm going to talk about probably 2-3 topics every show. Try to keep it interesting, keep it diverse. And first off, I want to talk about something that it means a lot to me, actually. And it's the fact that a lot of restaurants don't have Coke. And personally, I find that very frustrating. You go there and you say, could I have a Coke? And they're like, is Pepsi okay? And I'm like, no, Pepsi is definitely not okay. Really, what's with Pepsi? I mean, no offense, David Wright, if you're watching this, I know you love Pepsi, and to each their own. But to me, a Pepsi tastes like a Coke that's been sitting out for 3 days. It's just, kind of bland and stale and on Pepsi. So I know I've pissed off some waiters and waitresses because I really get kind of an attitude. I'm like, no, Pepsi is not okay. So yeah, like I said, that's near and dear to my heart. So if you work in a restaurant and they serve Pepsi, maybe speak to the owners there, speak to the management, see if you can get that taken care of. For me, okay? Oh man, this is a great video. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already tuned out, I'm going to talk about actually something really serious. And I'm not just saying it's really serious. I want to talk about fear. Now, my friend Andy in his video, he talked about something that was really personal for him, and that's struggles he's had with depression. Now, I guess most people at one time or another go through depression, and I'm no stranger to that myself. I've definitely gone through very depressed times, and really not that too far off in the distant past I was even like that. But for me, I would say that fear has been my bigger problem. It's funny, I was watching an episode of Doctor Who the other night with my girlfriend, and it all centered around this little boy. His name was Georgie, which, coincidentally enough, George is my real name. And George was just terrified. George was terrified of everything. Now, for Georgie, it was because there were, monsters and aliens involved with this to a degree. I don't want to give away too much, but I remember at one point in there, his father said, "Little Georgie is scared of everything." And it kind of hit home with me, because this little Georgie used to be scared of just about everything. Not even so much as a child, but even in my adult years. And I don't know why. I guess it's, a confidence thing. But I'll tell you something, fear, if you don't already know it, fear can be a very crippling thing. Fear can prevent you from so much enjoyment you could be having. And I've had it, even when, in the past when I was even interested in a girl, I'd be afraid to ask her out. And I guess that's typical. People get afraid of, rejection, getting shot down. But, hi, how are you? But for me, I don't know, it was that, maybe things in my workplaces that I might be scared of. And a big thing for me was my writing. Because a lot of people watching this know that I'm a writer. I've got my first book coming out early this summer. And I'll tell you, I, over the years, have started literally a couple of dozen novels. And I finished a couple that, although I'm happy I finished them, they'll probably never see the light of day in terms of being published, because they were, earlier works. And, I learned a lot by writing them. And it's helped me, of course, with my writing now. Every little bit of writing you do is going to help you later on, give you confidence. But a lot of these things, especially the ones that were unfinished, I think I would get to a point, halfway into the story, or even 3/4 into the story, where I'd be thinking, no one's ever going to read this. It's not good enough. It's not good enough to be published. And I don't want to sound like I'm whining here. I think a lot of people experience that kind of thing, especially when you're doing, some form of art, whether it's music or painting or writing. That, you have that fear that, you might be enjoying the process of creating your art, but you wonder if others are, going to appreciate it, or if they're just going to say, "Oh, that's horrible." And with books, too, and I guess with music too, you submit it to your publishing companies, your recording companies, and you think, "Oh, is it ever going to be accepted?" Because no one wants to hear that they suck. And then, unfortunately for me, I would stop writing it, maybe move on to something else, and that pattern continued and continued. But I've finally come to the point where I'm just saying, F you, fear. Seriously, it does nothing good for you. It's just I don't know. When they tell kids, there's nothing really to be afraid of. Fear is the greatest fear. Boy, I screwed up that quote. Somebody said something like that. Can't remember who. But, man, that's going to bother me that I can't remember that. But really, it does you no good, right? Fear, I think fear of failure, well, if you let that run your life, and it causes you to not act, you've got the fear of becoming a failure. If you don't act on the things you want to do because of that fear, then you kind of are a failure. And, I'm tired of living that way. Right now, I'm at a really good point in my life. I feel a confidence level that I was missing for an awful long time. And, everybody knows life is hard. You get all kinds of curveballs thrown at you. But you got to keep moving forward, right? That's what it said in Rocky Balboa. I love the Rocky movies. If you know me at all, you know I love the Rocky movies. And there was a great speech in the last Rocky movie, Rocky Balboa, where Rocky was talking to his son. Because his son was... he was having hard times with his job and hard times of living in the shadow of his father. And he said, no matter what, you got to keep moving forward. Life's going to throw all kinds of things at you, and you can't let it drag you down. You got to keep moving forward. So, like I said, F you, fear. I'm not going to let that kind of stuff stop me anymore from the things that I want to do. Whether it's job related, writing related, none of it. And I'll tell you, one thing I've really enjoyed this year is, I guess since last October, is when I started doing my shows here on YouTube. That was kind of a thing where, I don't know, I guess, it sounds silly, it's just a little show on YouTube, but I think that helped develop my confidence more. I was kind of putting myself out there a little bit, and I've had a lot of fun with it. And what's really nice is I've had some good responses from it. Made some new friends along the way, writer friends, and even friends who aren't into writing. People have seen the show, and I appreciate all of that. I'm really happy for all the friends I've made in this past year. And if there's something you guys want to do, and you're worried about people thinking that you're not doing well, or that you suck in some way, seriously, to hell with that. Do what you want to do. Sometimes that's easier said than done, but you got to take the steps to do it. That's how I know I am, even with my writing. Like a lot of people, I would make excuses, say, oh, it's a long day at work, I'm tired, I don't want to work on the book. But if there's something you want to do, you got to make the time, and that's something that I've been making myself do the past several months as I'm getting closer to the publication of my books. I'm going to have 3 books out. It's a trilogy, and spending time on all of those. You got to try to make the time. It's not always easy because we're all busy with our families, and a lot of us, deal with problems in our families, and it's tough. We might have parents who are having problems that we have to take care of, or children, and you do what you got to do. I'm not saying to ever ignore those people who you love. Never. You always want to make time for them. They're number one. But you got to try to squeeze in some happiness for yourself too. Whether that is, writing, or exercising, or reading. You got to somehow give yourself some time. Well, I guess that's all I got to say about that. But I'm just happy to say that, some of the things I was struggling with, the fear issues that I had, which often led to depression, I've found ways to, deal with that. And something like this is actually a wonderful remedy for fear and depression. Getting out into the open and just walking around. Like right now, there's nobody around me, which is awesome. Sun's shining, I got trees behind me, I'm walking with my eyes closed right now, I'm kind of taking in nature. There's little birds chirping, and life is pretty good. So what else did I want to talk to you about? Hey, how about Star Wars? Did you see? There was a posting yesterday online about the cast of Star Wars 7. And you've got Harrison Ford, you got your Carrie Fisher, you got your Mark Hamill, you got Anthony Daniels, who played C-3PO, you got Kenny Baker, who played R2-D2, and you got Peter Mayhew, who played Chewbacca. And they're all going to be back for Star Wars 7, which I believe comes out December 18th, 2015. I've told my girlfriend to keep that day free, because we are definitely going opening day to that. Isn't that exciting? Star Wars 7. Now, I'm a big Star Wars fan, who isn't, right? And a lot of people talk about their prequels that came out later on and said that they sucked. And really, I'm not one of those people. I enjoyed them. I went to the theaters to see each of them. And I think even the people who say they suck did that, and they probably enjoyed them at the time. But then later, you get to compare them to the first 3 movies. And yeah, it's definitely a different dynamic in the films. Maybe not quite as compelling, But then again, that original trilogy, that's what initially got us, right? So it had an awful lot to live up to. Just like this new movie will have a lot to live up to. But I've heard so many people say, since this was announced, and especially since yesterday, when they showed who was in the cast, that they figured this has got to be a step up from the prequels. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm super excited about it. I mean, I know some people are making jokes about them being so old, but really, who cares if they're older? I mean, it'd be cool to see the characters older, right? I mean, Harrison Ford is Han Solo. I mean, he's, to a lot of people, despite like the great amount of work that Ford's done over the years, he's always going to be Han Solo. Mark Hamill, great as the Joker in the Batman animated series. Fantastic. If you haven't watched them, watch them. He's always going to be Luke Skywalker. So, pretty excited about that. I really don't get to the movies like I used to. I used to go to the movies every week. Every week I would go to the movies. But you know what? Movies have gotten so damned expensive. It's ridiculous. And I think a lot of people don't go to the movies like they used to. I mean, who wants to pay like, $10 to go out to the movies? That's just for a ticket. And that's like, I think I'm guesstimating a little low there. But so many people do Redbox or Netflix now. I love Netflix. Oh, so addicted to Netflix. Did a show on my did an episode on my one show, Sunday Night Picture Club, not too long ago, about binge watching. And I host that show with Melissa Lamas. So I'll put a link to that here on this page if you want to check it out. We did all about binge watching. We had a lot of great participation from our viewers about that. So so many people are into using Netflix or Amazon Prime for that sort of thing. Hi, how are you, sir? He didn't say hi back. I don't know what's up with that. What's great about coming here in the middle of the day is there's not a whole lot of people here. But even any time of the day, it's a great, great place to come. It's so beautiful. So I'm slowly approaching the 1 mile mark, which means I'll be wrapping up this travesty. Actually, I don't feel it's a travesty. I think it wasn't too bad. Hopefully when I check the video on this, it's not going to just be like a shot of like an inch of my head, or just like shooting like into my ear, because no one wants to see in there. Really, you don't. But you know what? I thank everybody for tuning in, and be doing these about once a week. And again, I just want to say to you, if there's stuff that you want to do, it's not always easy to find the time to do the things you want to do. But make the time. Make a little bit of time. If not every day, then maybe 1 or 2 days a week. Give yourself a little bit of time to do the things that you want to do. It's really important. Life's too short. It's just too damn short. So, I thank you all for tuning in. Just want to let you know, too, if you've actually watched this all the way to the end, tomorrow night, Friday, May 2nd, here on this channel, on Buddy's Writing Show, I'm going to be interviewing author Stacy Claflin, who's a really, really cool lady, great writer. She's got several books out, and she's got several different projects she's been involved in, which I'm really excited to talk with her about. So tune in for that. Check out my other Buddy's Writing Show. I talked to Sean Platt, Johnny B. Truant, and David Wright the other day about their Fiction Unboxed project. So I just hit the 1 mile mark, so I'm going to call it a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody have a fantastic day. See you soon. Bye.